Welcome to the first ever episode of the Real Estate Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Mary-Felicia, a London-based real estate professional. This podcast was built out of the simple belief that real estate is not just about buildings, it's about the people. It's about the people behind those buildings so that it can inspire the next generation. In each episode, I'll be diving into the stories from multiple professionals in the field, from agents, planners, developers, marketing professionals, investors and entrepreneurs. I'll be diving into the challenges and wins which they face throughout their career journey. So whether you're starting out or you're already an established professional, there's something here for everyone. So I'm super excited to dive into the first episode. Let's get into it. Some people think they would need a very minimal deposit for something like that.
It's not one, a get rich quick scenario, and number two, just because the barrier to entry is very low doesn't mean you should just jump on it. Make sure you have a very good financial advisor. If not, have three.
And what kind of skills did you gain from that first role then?
Because the thing is, you're all in competition with each other to get the lead. The phone would barely even ring halfway and the phone's already taken. I say to some of my colleagues, they're like, oh, well, how comes you know so many people? Be a beg friend, it's okay.
So I know you've worked with high profile clients,
right?
Celebs, VIPs.
Yeah.
What has that been like?
The first encounter I had no idea they were even a celeb. And I was just...
Welcome to the Real Estate Leaders podcast, where I interview real estate leaders of today and those that are rising for tomorrow. I'm really pleased to bring you guys another episode with a special guest who I am happy to have selected, which is Maxine, an incredible sales agent here in London. And I hope that you can be inspired by her story from starting in university, studying architecture, to now selling the top schemes across London and also working with an array of clients. I just know that you will get a lot of value from this episode. So thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. What a great introduction. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Let's get into it and learn more about Maxine's journey and what she does today and what her day-to-day entails of in the property industry. So I've personally worked with you, Maxine, at the start of my apprenticeship journey, and she's been an incredible inspiration to me personally, been so supportive of my journey, and being able to see her progress further throughout my time working with the company has been incredible.
Oh no, I think it's vice versa, honestly. I think one of the most worthwhile things to do in your career is to be able to help somebody kind of grow, especially when they're new into the industry, see how much you can input into their lives. I didn't even realize I had anything to input into your life, but I think just seeing your journey as well just kind of shows like, wow, you know, you're really a product of your environment. So very proud of you as well.
Thank you. We've known each other probably about 2 years and almost 3 years. I think 2 years, 9 months now. I'm just saying that because of my LinkedIn. 2 years.
I was going to say, I was like, it's more than that long. Is it?
I think so. Or probably we're just almost going to hit 3 years. We're about 3 months till September.
Why I think it's longer, I don't know. Okay, wow.
I know. Time flies when you're having fun.
It is. Yes. Yeah, it's been a while. But it feels like so much has happened in that space of time.
So
like
true.
People have been in the company, people have left, people have grown. Things have changed. Even the world has changed. Even the way we do our job has changed. So
that's true. There's a lot to do with the economy and how the world's going forward. But before we even think about the future, I'd love to touch more base on your upbringing and how things were in your early childhood. Like, what was you like as a child? Was you introverted, extroverted? Because I think some people tend to think when you're in property, you're such a confident woman, and I feel like some people might think that needs to come naturally. So do you think that aligned with your childhood self?
Personally, yes, but I wouldn't say that everybody needs to have the same come up as I did. Naturally, when I was a kid, I just liked people, you know. There's a 8-year age gap between me and my brother, so I had to learn how to be on my ones for a while.
And you're the older one?
And I'm the older one, yeah.
Oldest.
So oldest. There's just the two of us, yeah. So when I went to school, I loved going to school because I could be around other people, and I was a little bit influential, although I had nothing to influence. But you know, I always had a group of people around me. I like making people like laugh and be comfortable around me.
As she does now.
Yes, same, haven't changed. But yeah, I do think in this industry, it's more about how well you work with people as opposed to you being an extrovert. I don't think everyone should be the same, because if you think about it, not all your clients are the same. There are some people who might really think I'm very annoying, and there might be people who are like, do you know what, she's the best. So I think it's more about championing who you are as a person and be confident in that. You can be a confident, quiet person. You can be a confident nerd. You can be a confident extrovert. You know, it just really depends. But once you've got that confidence, it does shine through. And then the people who gel with you will attract themselves to you. Yeah.
I love that. And would you say you was into property from young, or was you quite curious in other career paths? Because I know you dabbled a lot in different ventures as well, business ventures.
Right.
So that would be interesting to know.
When I was very young, I actually was, I don't know if you can say this anymore, but tomboy. I wasn't the Barbie girl at all. I used to think they were so annoying. So I liked Lego. I was a Lego girl. I even, when CDs came out, CD-ROMs came out, my dad got me this Lego program for the computer. And you could like make your own buildings or make your own design and then send it to Lego to send you the pieces. So I was into that. I never thought I was into property. I didn't know what property was when I was a kid. And then throughout like my whole education, like primary school, secondary school, sixth form, art was a very, very big thing for me. Like I love being creative. I get it from my dad. And it was something I just wouldn't give up. I just like experimenting. And I'm a very visual person.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure a lot of people can relate, but when you have African parents telling them that you want to do art for a university degree, it's gibberish. It's just not going to land very well.
Where are these paintings going to take you? I can just imagine that being
it just wasn't an option. They just thought I was going through something.
Yeah.
And so I'm very blessed that I was, you know, doing well academically. So I said, okay, do you know what? Just to keep them happy, I did maths at A level, and then I still wanted to do the art because the art wasn't going anywhere.
Still pressing in your mind.
So exactly. So I put the two together, and for uni is why I chose architecture. Exactly.
Lovely. So that is what initially sparked your interest in architecture.
That's right.
And what was the uni life like for you then as well? And what kind of things did you study in architecture? Do you think it's actually helped you to where you are now?
You know what? I think for most people, when they hear that I studied architecture, they think that it was something that was a lifelong dream and I was just so into like building properties. But as I've grown, I've realized I actually prefer interiors a lot more. When I was younger, I don't know if you ever heard about these programs, but there used to be changing rooms and DIY SOS and things like that. And I would be glued to those shows.
Yeah.
And my parents had a few properties around the UK that they would also flip. So I used to love just watching what they were doing.
Yeah.
But when I actually got to uni and realized the scope of it, I didn't actually realize how much that practice challenges you to see what is unseen. And I really enjoyed studying, but there's nothing that can encourage you or give you enough practice for how much you have to study. Like there's barely any freshers. Like you start from day one.
Oh my.
There's a lot of work. There's no exams, so it's full on coursework.
Projects. You have to build things.
Exactly. And you're doing, we call them tutorials. Essentially, you're giving presentations to your class, your group, as well as the tutors with what you've, you know, developed. And I guess the pros and cons of it, in my view, was the pros was you learned how to be very confident about your ideas. There was nowhere to hide, you know. There was nothing like a bad idea, which is what I really appreciated. You just had to be confident and really learn how to explain yourself and explain what's going on in your mind.
Yeah.
And the sky was the limit. Like anything was something to be created from. Does that make sense? So I mean, I went down in legend history at uni for this, but there was one time that I just didn't have enough time to do my sketch model. A sketch model essentially is a very primitive version of the start of your project. And so just before lectures that day, I grabbed the inner tube of a kitchen roll and I was like, you know what, this will do. went to lectures, it's now tutorials. We're all sat
Yeah.
at the table and we now have to give an explanation of our sketch models. How did we arrive to this idea?
Okay.
When I tell you, I explained the ish out of that kitchen
The kitchen roll.
Yes.
The inner part of
the
it.
inner tube. I was like, if you look at it on this angle, it defines this. And
Oh my.
my tutor was looking at me with all his eyes. And at the end, he actually clapped. Because he was like, I'm not clapping because of this stupid thing that you've brought on the table.
Yeah.
I'm clapping because of how eloquent you were to really drive home and really, I thought I was seeing things that weren't in front of me.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, so as I said, as a pro, it really taught me a lot about how to present myself and present my ideas.
Yeah.
Cons wise, I think in the time that I was going to uni, it really was the time when it felt like university was the only answer.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you wanted to get ahead in life, you had to have a degree or you had to go through it in the very traditional sense.
Yeah, that's shifted a lot now, hasn't it?
Right. That's changed so much. One, because of technology. Two, because actually there's so much more opportunity, especially for us who grow up in the UK or the US or in Europe. I think if anyone is trying to go for architecture, I would say do your homework because it is still a very who you know industry. And you might actually have a quicker route or a more in-depth route by doing an apprenticeship or an internship. Doing summer experience, like really put yourself out there. And I think this even works for corporate as well. Get to know people because it's people who take you further. A degree is great, but a degree just shows people what you know, but can you apply it? Can you
real world
use it?
Exposure?
Right. So if I could do it again, I think I actually would have gone the apprenticeship route and really, you know, done well with my networking. I've seen a lot of my, colleagues that I also went to uni with, they're struggling because they just did education. And so now it's like, now you want to come into the big wide world. What's your experience? Who do you know?
That's such a good valid point because now there's very much this uni versus apprenticeship kind of debate going on where people are like, is university alone going to stand still for so long? And I know even now UCAS is partnering with different companies that offer apprenticeships. And so it's just really changing the game now. People are starting to open their eyes. And also parents are starting to be convinced now that uni is not the only way. You don't just have to be a lawyer, doctor. If you do have other interests, go and pursue that real world exposure. And I guess also to build on your point that you said about being able to eloquently describe something that people may not have seen it, an unseen product, that definitely, I guess, would manifest itself in your day-to-day role. Like today we're in 8 Harvard Square. You guys will be able to see the B-roll of where we are. It's literally like a Manhattan in London. We've got an industrial style feel. We've got concrete ceilings and the brickwork in the walls. So to your average person who may not appreciate art, they might think, is this an unfinished product? But there's actually a lot behind it. And when you showed me around, you was able to eloquently describe it to me. And I found that really powerful in your job role.
No. And even just to add to that, first of all, thank you. But a lot of my career has also included me having to sell a property that's not even constructed yet. So we call that off plan. Exactly.
Could you tell our audience what that entails of what is it like selling something off plan? And what is it?
The first time I had to do it, honestly, you feel like you're selling somebody dreams because it doesn't even matter about the price point. It's just more a case of my job, its fundamental is somebody building trust with you. And from where I come from, you don't play with people's money, right? So you really had to believe in the product that you are selling as well as the developer so much that you convey that into somebody else. Let's be very honest, an apartment is an apartment is an apartment. There's only so much to it. The finishes and everything can be different. But why should somebody part with quite a lot of money in a place they probably don't know for a product that doesn't exist?
And how do you instill that trust into them then?
The first thing is know your customer or know your client, right? I think if you can understand people and understand what their needs are, even if they don't verbally say that to you, I think you would do very well. I think one of the things that gives sales agents a bad rap is not knowing when to turn somebody away. That's not to obviously jeopardize your job, but it's just about your integrity and your honesty. If I really don't think that somebody is purchasing something that is right for them, I would highlight that. You know, I've done that before in my job. Please don't sack me. But I think it fosters a lot of trust because people realize that you're not afraid to tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. Number two, with obvious respects, know your product. I think my biggest wake up call, and I took it for granted because obviously I've learned from some phenomenal people in this industry. But when I was buying my first property and I would go on viewings, oh my gosh, they were a shambles. They were an absolute shambles. I think part of the reason why I bought the property that I did, other than the fact that I actually liked the property, was because the people who showed me around knew what they were talking about. But there are a lot of people who do I call it the bingo wings. They just go around going like this.
This is a bedroom, this is a kitchen.
Right,
this
and literally just
is electric.
And it's like, I can see that. Tell me something I don't know.
So would you say the agent that sold you your property that you're in now was good at conveying the product?
No, definitely. I had it felt like I was fostering a relationship with someone who cared about the money I was spending. They kept up to date with me, gave me updates. They gave me the full background. There was even somebody who had bought the property before me and they had fallen out of bed. Usually agents won't tell you that because they don't want you to be put off. But my agents, they told me straight up, look, this is the reason why they pulled out. We're letting you know so that you can also make a justified decision. And I think that's, that's what makes integrity. It's when if you believe in your product enough anyway, you're not scared to tell the bad things that go on about it because essentially, you know that the pros outweigh the cons. There will be cons to everything. But fostering trust from your client means building a relationship, listening, showing them what actually they want, and also showing them things that they haven't even thought about.
And I guess this concept of having those key principles installed with you for off-plan sales also applies to any usual sale as well. And I'd like to touch now on how you had experience on a top-selling shared ownership site towards just like maybe a few years ago now. Before we even get into the luxury side of things she's working on now, you had a bit of, I guess you could say, humble beginnings, working with clients that are first-time buyers, getting their first step onto the ladder. And I'm sure that integrity is so important because you don't want to mislead someone. For people that don't understand what the shared ownership program is in the UK, do you think you could kind of let us know
Summarize it? So it's a scheme there where you essentially are part buying and part renting the property. It was introduced to kind of assist first-time buyers or those without a very large deposit get onto the property ladder. I know it has had a lot of stigma in the past, but, over the however many governments we've had, it has been improved over the years. And like with all property, it is a bit of a gamble, but so long as you pick correctly and you do your finances correctly and get the best advice, you should be set very well.
And I guess one of the misconceptions is some people think they would need a very minimal deposit for something like that. But is that true? Is it possible to get a bit trapped in the situation if they don't do enough homework and understand what they're getting into?
I mean, in my personal opinion, with all schemes, it's not, one, a get-rich-quick scenario, and number two, just because the barrier to entry is very low doesn't mean you should just jump on it. And I do think for the lack of enough research, some people in the past have put themselves into schemes and unfortunately, like you say, trapped themselves because they didn't kind of itemize the full journey. As I said before, get some good advice. And it doesn't matter if I'm working with someone who is buying their first property or someone who is a multimillionaire. It's the same advice. Make sure you have a very good financial advisor. If not, have three. And really do your research. What is out there for you? What are the pitfalls? Know everything before you commit to anything.
That's very good advice. So if you are looking to purchase via shared ownership or use any government scheme, definitely keep that in mind. So now that you're working in a big city today, what was it like? Did you always grow up in London, or was you used to it?
So I had a very different upbringing to most. I grew up in London till I was 12, and then my family felt like they needed more space. And so we ended up all the way in a very small town called Wisbeach. If you don't know where that is East Anglia, probably one of the whitest areas in England. Yeah. But you know what? I actually really appreciate the fact that I got that experience. Yes, it's extremely different to somewhere so diverse like London.
Yeah.
But I guess it's what they say, you get thrown into the deep end. My brother and I were the only black kids in the entire school.
Yeah.
So we learned firsthand what it feels like to be very different, for
Like a
people to be
minority.
wondering. Exactly. But one thing I'm so appreciative of my parents is they always used to foster confidence into us. So it didn't matter if you were different, own that difference. Make sure you show up well. If people ask you questions, even if it's out of ignorance, teach people, share. And to be honest, it wasn't so bad. I think my parents had it a little bit more difficult, but it wasn't so bad. Yeah.
And I relate to that as well, because I grew up in London, then got moved out to middle of nowhere, and now I'm back in London. And I would love to know as well, has there been like any key challenges that you faced when you broke into the industry? I'd like to know that turning point from your university architecture degree to sales. What happened? How did we get from uni degree in architecture to
this
selling?
So with uni, when I came home, I didn't really know what I was going to do with myself, if I'm honest with you. And I was at a very complex time in my life where just things were just so all over the place. I think there are some people who have that challenge of, okay, when you've gone through a system of schooling, and now you have to do it all on your own and you just don't know what to do.
Adulting.
Exactly. So whilst I was at uni, I used to have quite a few retail jobs. I've worked in Ralph Lauren, Top Man, you name it. So I thought, well, I know how to do that. Jumped into retail, which is definitely not what I wanted to do for the foreseeable future. It was just, I need to make some money. Now, during that time whilst I was at retail, I'm quite entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
So I used my creativity in so many ways. I started a YouTube channel and blogging before it got so influency heavy.
Multi-passionate.
Yes. I also used to do videography as well. Shout out to Chris.
Got Chris in the background recording this.
But yeah, so I used to do videography. I don't know if you know, when you go out for a night out, that person who's taken the videos whilst you're on a night out, that used to be me.
Oh.
And then I used to do like kind of makeup commissions, hair commissions.
Yeah.
And through all of that, I actually developed a very good relationship with a supplier and actually started my own hair company. Bear in mind, this is all still happening whilst I'm doing retail.
Wow.
And in retail, I just can't sit still. I always want to learn something more. So I started off as an 8-hour Saturday girl. And in about a year and a half, I was then getting approached by the area manager saying, look, we're opening up a brand new store in London. Do you want to go manage that?
Cool.
So that was the transition into London.
Okay, so managing a retail store.
Retail store, exactly. So I will say, and I used to tell this to the girls that I used to manage as well, is never discount your journey. It might not look like what you want to do. Retail definitely wasn't what I wanted to do, but I learned so much, especially with sales.
Yes, I can imagine.
I came up with systems of how to sell to people that it became a point where I could already tell what somebody was like whilst they walked into the store, and I knew exactly what they were going to buy and they would buy it.
Lovely.
So I learned so much in that stage. And
was you training people up as well as a manager?
Exactly. So I had my own team, and on top of that, they used to take me around the country to teach people how to sell the store card. I didn't even have a credit card myself. And I was teaching people to take credit anyway.
Across the world?
No. Just across the different cities in the UK.
Okay, but still, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So she's traveling across the different cities in the UK and teaching people about how to utilize their money in the best way.
Exactly. Well, mainly utilize this in the store.
In the store.
Get the
to
store
bring
card
back the
and buy more
revenue.
clothes. Exactly. But it was fun. You know, I like to dress up and things like that. Then after a while, I realized, you know what, this isn't what I want to do. But I kept that all internal.
Yeah.
This time I'm now in London.
Okay.
And one day in walks this gentleman, 3-piece suit, all done up. He's with another lady and I can see that they're shopping around. Pounce on her as per usual. And basically, I think she came in to buy one item. She ended up buying 3 outfits.
Lovely.
And it was
not
at
even
the till.
3 items, 3 outfits. There's a lot that
beginning
goes into
to
outfit.
And the gentleman that was with her, he was actually the CEO of his own agency, residential agency. And he was like, look, what you did today, I need it in my company. So I essentially got scouted into, that's how I got into property. Because he was like, how you managed to do all of that so swift and so, you know, like you knew what you were talking about. And I felt confident enough to actually buy with you.
Wow. She got scouted. She didn't even apply.
I didn't even apply.
She wasn't even there struggling for the job role and being denied. She was scouted.
Yeah.
That says a lot. And I think that also shows about being seen as well. And not being afraid to just show up as your true, authentic self.
Right.
Some people might be too shy to go and put more effort in towards the way that they present themselves to clients. And so that obviously helps you to get where you are today by butterfly effect almost, I guess you could say.
Exactly. Well, this is what I said. Don't discount your journey. You know, I know a lot of people take retail jobs as, oh, it's just a Saturday thing or, oh, it's just something to give me pocket change. And not put effort in. But there's so many things you can learn along the way. Even if you do newspaper rounds or you're going to clean your neighbour's garden or something, whatever it is, there's so many transferable skills. And if you do it well, somebody else will recognise you. Even the biggest corporations still do the most mundane things, you know.
And what kind of skills did you gain from that first role then? Was you straight away working on a development? Was you in a marketing suite? What was that first role?
That one was lettings.
Okay, cool.
So very fast paced.
Very fast paced.
I was the only girl in that team and I was among some head honchos. Like these boys knew how to I learned so many things. I mean, one of them, and this is a tip for any of you guys watching, the boys used to keep their hand on the phone.
Okay.
Because the thing is, you're all in competition with each other to get the lead.
Oh, so who?
And I didn't know this. So the phone would barely even ring halfway and the phone's already taken. And I was like, how am I supposed to speak to anyone or even do a viewing or anything if I don't get a call?
Wow,
And so one day, one of the boys was like, listen, here's a trick, Max. I think he just felt sorry for me. He was like, look, just put your hand on the receiver. And he said, don't even wait for it to ring. Just wait for the light to blink. Then you know a call is coming.
Wow.
So I learned a lot of things. Plus the actual CEO himself, I think he took a liking to me. So he used to teach me a lot of things and how he would do a viewing, how he would kind of get new clients or new landlords. But it was very, very fast paced.
That's a proper graft.
Proper graft. And it got very intense, actually. I didn't stay too long. I took a little bit of a career break, which I don't advise anyone to do in London unless you got money for it. But and then got headhunted for the company that I work for now. So I have been very blessed. Very, very blessed. But I do think that when you work hard, and you do your best, even when some of the days are just really long and tiring and stressful, just you do your best, you show up. It really does pay you back and other people can see it, you know, so.
And now you're working with a global leading firm. And that's just absolutely insane. And you're working for the best developers that there are in London. And to summarize that bit there now, because you had your hands in different things, your own hair company, you're working with suppliers, you've done, you're interested in architecture and design, and also you did retail, and now you have interest in your own interior design company coming up as well. Before we even get into that, because I'm super excited to hear more about it, what would your advice be for more multi-passionate women that want to pursue another industry, whether that's real estate or something that's not related to what they do? What's your advice for them?
Don't be shy of being multi-passionate. I think this world is very good at pigeonholing people because that's just what seems normal and acceptable and easy for other people to digest. Like, oh, you like music, so you're going to be a musician, you know? And I don't think people are like that. Everybody's multifaceted. You can have different interests. And sometimes you can surprise yourself. I went into architecture at uni, studied it. By the end, I thought I hated it. I actually ran away from architecture and funnily enough, fell back into property again, you know. But I would say experiment, learn. Do not think you're too old enough to learn. You don't know everything. Meet people. I think
Events, networking events.
Exactly. I mean, I even say to some of my colleagues now, they're like, oh, well, how comes you know so many people? Be a beg friend. It's okay. Like, go out there and DM someone that you really like seeing their content and just say, look, I'm really interested. Can we have a coffee? Can we meet up? Can we Zoom? Whatever. Because we all have something to learn from each other.
Very true.
And once you enjoy something, work at it. You know, nothing in life ever came easy. Consistency is key. Practice is key. You don't like it, change it up. It's okay. Mistakes are also welcome. You're not going to be 100% from day one. Yeah.
And also because I think that was really great advice for someone that's multi-passionate. Absolutely love that. And for anyone that has the perception that sales is very high pressure and you need to be very rigorous, how do you remain confident in high pressure sales environments?
God, if I'm very honest with you, I really hold my Christianity very strong because there can be days where you are really tested because at the end of the day, you're working with people, right? And on my side of the role, you are in competition. You are working for a commission. You are working for reward. And so where there is competition, sometimes the stakes can be high. Sometimes the pressure can be high. Learn how to step away from things sometimes. You know, having your quiet moments. I know for me, if things get too pressurized, take a walk, have a breather. Also, have someone that you trust in your company always helps. You don't have to be everybody's friend, but at least have somebody that you can talk to who can relate to what you're going through. That's pretty much it, really, and have some sleep.
So God, take a breather, be mindful of your surrounding and your circle, and get some sleep.
Get some sleep.
And relating to people as well now. So high pressure sales environments always relates to the people you're dealing with. So I know you've worked with high profile clients, celebs, VIPs. What has that been like? Selling property to
the first time, funnily enough, obviously I can't say names, but the first encounter I had no idea they were even a celeb. And I was just talking to them just the way I'm talking to you, laughing, joking. To the point where I even asked their name and asked them what profession they did.
And you're like,
and they told me they were a singer, and I was like, no, never seen you before. And they walked out, and as they walked out, my colleague walked in and was like, do you know who that is? And I was like, no. I was mortified when I found out. So I even sent an email. I think that's even worse. I was like, I am so sorry, I live under a box. But you know what? They loved it because they were like, you treated me as a normal human being. And then ever since that, I think that's what's stuck with me. So even if you are a VIP, a celeb, I'm just going to be Maxine. How you see me here is how I'm going to be out there. And I do live under a box. So most of the time I don't even know who you are.
That's so inspiring, because I guess some people might think, oh my gosh, I need to act in another type of way. But you generally are just your authentic self,
Yeah.
and that goes a long way.
Right.
And by the way, when you realised who this celeb was, did you realise you knew who they were low key, or did you actually have no clue who they were?
Once I knew who they were, then
It
the
clocked.
dots, the dots connected,
That's so exciting. And now talking about success, you worked on a development called Southmere.
Right.
And that was a top-selling scheme.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Do you know what? Out of all the developments I've sold, including the luxurious ones, Southmere has a very close place in my heart, because I felt like I was really making a difference. The majority of the buyers there were first-time buyers, so they're counting their pennies. It's the biggest purchase of their life so far, and the amount of trust somebody is putting into you. I mean, I've had tears. I've had people having anxiety attacks, and you have to be the one that's there. The amount of some of my
big
buyers,
decision.
huge decision. I had one of my buyers, after she'd done her sale, she called me. She was like, do you know what, can we still just keep in contact, because I really feel like you've become my friend.
Aww.
You know? And it's really changed my perception on property and people and all of that. So yeah, absolutely love that development.
Now you are one of the faces of Canary Wharf's most iconic developments. You've got 1 Park Drive, 10 Park Drive, 8 Harvard Square.
Yeah.
So what makes these developments so special to you? What is different now about working with these high profile schemes versus a first time buyer? Because now you're working with millionaires who have a certain amount of wealth where it isn't probably their first purchase. It might be an investment, might be a trophy asset. So what is the difference now when it comes to selling to a first time buyer versus a millionaire or someone that has an amass of wealth?
For me, I do see them one in the same, because, you know, behind the net worth is still a human being who needs to buy something from you, right? So the trust still needs to be there. Obviously, in terms of what they can buy is different, but just because people are wealthier doesn't mean they don't budget, doesn't mean they don't want a good deal, doesn't mean...
They can still pinch their pennies.
Exactly. So you still have pretty much the same kind of conversations. Don't get me wrong, there are times when somebody's telling me, oh, I'm just buying this so I can come to London on an off whim. Yeah, you start thinking, wow, there are levels. But when I came into this side of property, actually Canary Wharf was one of the first places I came to. I wasn't in sales, but it was, so I really got like a first-hand glimpse of, they say, how the other half live, right? And so I took that time to just be very observant and to see how people communicate and things like that. And then I, you know, went through different schemes, and then now I've come back to Canary Wharf. It is different, but like I said, fundamentally it's all still the same thing. You know, you still even get first-time buyers buying £1 million property. I know, shocking.
Would that usually be bank of mum and dad?
Yeah, typically, typically bank of mum and dad. I mean, there is an ethos behind it. You know, sometimes that does get a bad stigma because they're thinking, oh, it's just a bunch of spoiled kids. But no, I think when you're thinking about generational wealth, it's a huge asset to be able to kind of extend the longevity of wealth in your family to, you know, I've given this to you. Even if you don't want to live in it for so long, at least you now have something that you can go and invest it into something else or whatever you want to do. Yeah.
That's so interesting, because like it's some people might have that perception where people who have wealth see things a bit differently in regards to investment, but everybody wants to build that generational wealth when it comes to their investment decisions. And now a bit of real talk of what people don't see. What would you say is some of the less glamorous sides to your job role?
Oh, number one, call outs. Oh my gosh.
Picking up the phone.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of Gen Z, people say this anyways, I don't know if it's true. People bash calling, people say that Gen Zs cannot pick up the phone and just give a call because we're so used to typing, texting, socials. But please tell us more about the call outs.
Yeah, I don't think anything will make you ready for call outs if you've never done it before. At least if you can hide behind a screen, it's a little bit easier. But yeah, you're literally just calling people up and say, and really trying to pitch yourself. Every single call is a pitch.
It's after the other as well.
Right. Now, if every single person received you well, it wouldn't be so bad. But sometimes you get the phone hung up on you. You have people, don't call me again. Some people even forget that they're the ones who registered in the first place.
They're like, what? This property? Never heard of it.
But, you know, after so long, you just become very comfortable with it, you know.
Second nature.
Yeah. Another unglamorous thing. So if you didn't know, in this role, you don't get paid until somebody either exchanges contracts or completes the sale. And sometimes the deal can fall through. So imagine if you've been working with someone for months and the deal falls through, you haven't got paid for anything.
All that work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it happen very often for the audience to know? Does
I wouldn't say it happens often. And if it does happen often, then that's really a you problem.
Yeah.
But it can happen. You know, at the end of the day, people's circumstances can change.
Yeah.
People can change their mind because they're not committed to anything until they exchange contracts. I mean, there are ways to prevent this from happening.
Okay, what would that be?
So that would be, like I said, know your buyer, make sure that they are well checked financially. For me, I want somebody to be borderline begging me for that unit before I said commit, because I really hate fall throughs. You know, I want you to be 110% sure that you are ready to proceed and you want this property and you know what the journey entails. So for me, most of my fall throughs in my career have usually been because of a change of circumstances outside of the person's control. There's just nothing we can do about that.
Yeah, that's so understandable. And to talk about your own interest in property as well. So you own your own space. What kind of, was that always like a dream of you, having your own property? What was that like, the process? And are you still doing anything to do with that at the moment?
Yeah, so I always wanted my own place. I've rented so many different places in London. And if you rent in London, you know it can be crazy.
Something else, honestly.
And so, yeah, I always wanted my own place.
Yeah.
The process, for me, it was actually very easy. I think because I'm on this side of the industry, I know what to expect. I know what people want from me, so I'm always ready to go. So my conveyancing was just so simple, right? And I really enjoy it. I do think the glamourization of buying property needs to be investigated. Not everybody needs to buy a property, or because your life might not require it.
Yeah.
I do think it's a great asset to have.
Yeah.
Just know how to do it and to do it well. Don't make silly mistakes. But for the most part, yeah, property is still a very worthwhile asset to invest in.
Yeah. That's really important because it is very much glamorized, especially in the UK. Is that people are grafting so hard to buy a property when it might not even really be aligned for where they should be going.
Right.
There's other ways to build your wealth as well. So do you think property is an asset that you will always continue investing in? Like, what is your overall view? If I was someone that just wanted to get onto the ladder, what would be your advice in order to get myself prepared
for it? I do think everyone has the opportunity to get into property. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone should go for the same style of property or the same way of getting their property. There's a lot of different opportunities out there. This goes in what I was saying about doing your research. Some people get into property through commercial means. Some people go through it through kind of like rent-to-rent schemes. Some people
that's popular nowadays, isn't it?
Exactly. So there's so many ways to skin a cat, they say, but
What saying?
Right.
Skin a cat.
I think another thing too is people need to learn how to humble themselves. The gap between renting and buying is big. If you can rent a nice apartment in a beautiful development, please do not mistaken yourself that automatically means you can buy that same place. And I think that takes a lot of people by surprise. Obviously, for those who are well-to-do, this is not for them. But for the most of us, your first property might just be a shack. You know, it might just be a shed, and that's okay. You start somewhere. That's why it's called a property ladder. For me, I'll definitely keep on with property. I am very much interested in property. For me personally, it really is about the interiors and the way things look. I'm currently renovating my own place.
Lovely.
It's a journey, but it's fun, you know.
It's your process of renovating your own place. I know you've got a bit of a shameless plug, but you have got your own interior design company coming up.
That's right.
Could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, definitely. So the brand is called Moodwell. The name came about just because I like to try and bring about a mood where you dwell, hence the name.
Dwell, yes.
And so the idea of Moodwell is just to make interior design a lot more accessible and a lot more personal for more people. I think with interior design, it still feels like a very kind of padlocked industry that only if you have so much money or only if you know certain people should you even entertain the idea of having an interior designer. And number two, it has a bad stigma of, I call it the haircut experience. You go to the hairdresser, you say you only want 1 inch cut off, and then they shave your whole head. That's what tends to happen with interior design, because designers think they know best, which to an extent is true, but I think it's a very personal thing. You know, it's somebody's dwelling, it's where somebody's going to reside. They want their print on where they are. I'm sure on social media there's been this big thing of the sad beige interiors and everyone having beige. There's nothing wrong with beige.
There was a grey
season.
well.
Oh my gosh, COVID, me and grey went like this.
Even the velvet grey like sofas as well, velvet grey headboard.
Honestly, it was crazy. And I think, social media doesn't help when everybody wants to copy each other, right? But, there's just so much you can do with a space. I mean, 8 Harbour is a great example of how you can really change up a space. But
exactly, and we will be doing a tour of that.
Exactly,
shortly,
you'll definitely get to see that. But yeah, Moodwell is my passion project. It's something that I really want to develop and put out there. It actually was spurred on from a lot of the buyers that I deal with. When I do viewings, I find myself telling people or showing people how to do up a room, where they should, buy things from, or how to organize their space for better utilization and all of that kind of stuff. And they're always like, you should make this into a business, Maxine. Like, I will actually commission you to do this for me.
People have been telling you to do this.
They've been telling me, and I've been procrastinating. I was like, you know what? No, I think this is a sign from God. Like, I really need to get back to my creative roots. I am still working with people in an industry that I love. So yeah.
I'm excited for that.
Yes.
And where can they find out more information on that, for a shameless plug?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram. So at the moment, we're just kind of garnering attention. There'll be some content dropping soon. So that's at Moodwell, which is MOODDWELL. There's a lot of doubles in there. And then, yes, and the website will be coming soon with the full portfolio. There's been a few projects that I've done so far. But yeah, there's some really exciting things that are happening in the background with AI and interiors. Really want to draw those two things together.
Lovely.
And a mailing list will be out shortly. So please do subscribe to that, because there will be a freebie dropping for all of you guys as well.
Definitely check that out, guys. Yes. On the topic of interior design, I'd love to show you around a bit of a snapshot of what 8 Harbour Square looks like, the setting of where we're filming this episode. And if you are interested in purchasing an apartment here post seeing it, please do make sure you reach out to Maxine, because she is the girl to go to for that.
Thank you.
Every episode is filmed in a different space, and I always want to select somewhere that either complements the guest's journey or gives you an insider look at what's available or upcoming in the property market. I want to spotlight the incredible setting that we're filmed in today, 8 Harbour Square, located in the heart of Canary Wharf's Wood Wharf district. Today's backdrop, a standout example of Manhattan-inspired living. Think exposed red brick detailing, soaring ceilings, and a bold industrial aesthetic that channels the energy of Tribeca and Soho, all brought to life by world-renowned Carrickers and architects. At 8 Harbour Square, you'll find the Prospect Loft, starting from £805,500, the Gramercy Loft, starting from £936,000, and the spectacular upper loft penthouses, which have already sold out. Prices may vary at the time of you watching this video, but it's a building with presence, personality and architectural depth, and Maxine's episode couldn't have been filmed anywhere better. If you think this could be your next home, or you'd like more information on the available lofts, please do feel free to get in touch and we'd be happy to guide you. Thank you so much for being on this episode.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
It's been so nice to learn more about your journey and where you've been. And I think there's a lot of relatability there for the audience to be inspired by.
Right.
From studying architecture, being a multi-passionate woman and being able to inspire those. It's not an all end all thing when you start a certain career path. And also the fact that you have been able to present yourself so well that you attract all of the clients that you do attract and the opportunities. I think that you guys should definitely make sure you get in touch with Maxine if you want to learn more about her. Where can they find you in general?
On Instagram, it's at maxine.agy, which is AGY. But literally, if you just Google Maxine Agy, you'll just, wherever you can find me, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yes.
Just please don't be afraid to DM me or message me. I'm more than happy to share more if you're interested, if you want to know how to get into the industry. I've mentored a few people, including Mary-Felicia herself. I always love to just share what I have. I think there's space for all of us to be here. Definitely want to see more minorities in this space because we really have something to show. But this has been so much fun. Thank you.
I'm so glad you loved it. Thank you so much. And there's more to come soon.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.